quite a bit of experience with public presentations, both through speaking in front of professionals. I've spoken in front of crowds ranging from 5 people to 150 plus people, as well as I sing karaoke excessively. So I'm not afraid to get up in front of a crowd, but I do still have some social presentation anxiety that usually resonates through light sweating, maybe a little bit of a voice crack when I do start to present. But I would consider those manifestations as more of a fight response because as I start to get through the presentation, I become more comfortable. I can tap into that adrenaline and kind of ease into more of a natural flow of voice delivery as well as voice variety, vocal variety, if you will. A method that I like to use to manage this anxiety would be to prepare through repetition and reflection. What that looks like for me is I will go ahead and outline the main points of the presentation and create a script. I'll read that script and record myself, and I'll reflect by listening to that recording and kind of decide if something doesn't fit. If it doesn't flow easy, if there's a part that just doesn't make sense, I'll reorganize it and update it, and then I'll go ahead and record myself again, reflect, and I'll keep going through those 2 steps until I have a script that I feel is solid for the guidelines of the presentation. And I'll keep doing that until I memorize that script. And from there, that really helps with any kind of anxiety that I developed for a presentation. Another method that I like to use is I also like to go first on the day of the presentation. If I can, I'm going to volunteer to go first because I often find that I get anxiety being in a room with other people with anxiety. So if I can go first and get it out of the way, I'm super okay with that. Otherwise, if I can't, that's okay too. I'll just reiterate those talking points while I can, and once it is my turn to speak, I'll go ahead and try to be as confident as possible. And typically that works for me. A good example of this would be in summer 2022. I was part of an REU program with ASU where it was a 10-week program shadowing PhD students and their topics that they are studying. And then at the end of the program, I had to do a poster and presentation. With that presentation, it ended up being a 15-minute ordeal, and I went through the same steps. I went ahead and tried to understand what the guidelines of the presentation were, created the poster, which was my visual aid, and just kind of reiterated until I had it memorized. And day of, I was able to volunteer go first, and I felt like it was a great presentation, very successful. Thank you.